Okay, Mark, we've got PXG's Gen6 0311 XP.
Yep, this is the next version of Gen 6, actually, right? So relatively traditional looking club from the front as far as the shape and all that stuff. And it's obviously put in the game improvement category. It's a pretty big head. And it's got a lot of, it's got a fair amount of meat to it. I mean, this is a hollow club, but there's a lot of hollow in here. They do have obviously gone to, a single screw a little more. These were, the multiple screws is kind of a cool idea. I think it was a copy of me doing wedges like that a million years ago, and several people have followed. But they didn't actually, we weren't able to adjust these much, right? They were kind of locked in there and they couldn't do much. But the big one in the middle, you can adjust a certain way, which is fantastic. The builders love that, right? You got lots of flexibility.
I think that's a great change. Like you said, that the old ones were Loctite in, you couldn't get them out, and you'd strip them. And these things, they send them to you not even screwed in because they know you're going to mess them.
Which is great. It really does work well. And it's a relatively thick sole. It looks thinner because of the black thing on it. But if you actually measured it front to back, I'd say it's kind of in the middle of the game improvement line. Is about how wide it is. It's a relatively flat sole, too. It's got a little camber to it, but not a ton.
Yep.
And it's not a bad-looking golf club. When you sit on the ground, the longer irons, you do start to see the back because they're pretty big and chunky. That's just in a 3 and a 4. Well, it wasn't no 3, but a 4 iron. But, I tell you what, they're long.
That's it. That's what I was just about to say. What category is this? Well, this is a distance game improvement club.
Yes, right. With an explanation on the distance.
So we're seeing 173 out of an 80-mile-an-hour club. So that's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I swing a 7-iron like 82 or 83, and I don't sniff that ever.
And we've got toe, middle, and heel pretty much all get in there too.
Yeah, so anything, the center is actually pretty forgiving. Obviously you get, way out there in the low heel and nasty spots, obviously not so good. But, in the meat of the club, it's long.
It's long. So let's take a look at these numbers here. So obviously a 173 carry overall. We only give it the overall because it's a half-inch test. And with this kind of distance, you'd probably see good players struggling to control that front to back kind of
maybe a little bit
because the spin's down.
Right.
So we are seeing the trade-off stopping power. They're one of the lowest stopping powers, one of the lowest spin launches.
One of the longest clubs and the lowest stopping powers. That makes sense to some extent. But if you're, if you're a mid-high handicap and you need distance and you're playing, a flattish golf course in Florida or whatever, where you got no forced carries and rolling it up to the greens, this will work.
And you'll have one less club in your hand.
Yeah, right, exactly. Right. Yeah, 7-iron instead of a 6-iron for
Probably
sure.
works out.
Yep.
No, I do like what they've done. PXG have done some really good stuff with the irons. They're long.
The 6 Generation 6 is a marked improvement, right? So they've done, Generation 1, 2, and sometimes we see a pretty good, an incremental change that's substantial. Sometimes we see it's a tiny change, right? There's maybe cosmetics for the most part or whatever. But this one actually, and the Gen 6, they've actually, amped the game up a bit.
Yeah, I like it. Thanks, Mark.
Yes.